Hello, builders. My name is G. Some of you might be aware of a really great new frontier model that's available with Anthropic named Fable 5. We almost lost it for a second, but it's back, and I've been heavily building with it. I got to build with it a little bit at the start when it was initially available, but really, before it's cut off and no longer in the subscription, I really hit the pavement hard trying to get as many projects out with the allotment that I had. And so I wanted to really share some of the different tools that I was able to create games and different front end prototypes that I were able to build with Fable 5. There are certain things that I, over time, learned that the model does really well. And I wouldn't say that there isn't anything that it does poorly, but I just think that there are things that other models can do at a more cost-effective manner for similar, if slightly degraded capability, right? And when I say other models, at the time of recording, it would be Opus 4.8 or GPT 5.5. Now, it remains to be seen how 5.6 works, but for right now, that's kind of the comparisons that I'm making when I'm discussing Fable 5. So, when we think about Fable 5, what are some of the things that I think it's really great at? And some of the things that we're going to be viewing at when we're looking at some of the demos that I built. So, just really quick to go over it, I would say 3D models, really great. Um, uh, Design animations, making things move around in the way that you're describing it. Spatial awareness, when I ask it to place things in relation to the other models may struggle with that. I think that Fable 5 has really strong inferences to be able to interpret what you're saying and then provide results that feel correct, right? Other models, their inference seems somehow slightly off, where you'll have to take multiple turns at the conversation in order to nudge it in the right direction. Fable 5 has an increased ability for that one shot, right? So that when you prompt something initially, it doesn't have to be super complicated, and it's very likely to fill in all the gaps and be right. So those are some of the things that are really impressive. How I would use Fable 5 when it's off the subscription and on the, comparatively very expensive API cost, right? I think it's $50 per million tokens output, which is, I think uh, it was a lower price than what they had initially because I think it was over 100 something dollars. They've since tamed it down a little bit. I think probably in line with what 5.6 on OpenAI might be charging, but still $50 for a million tokens output, very expensive. So you got to be really strategic with it. I think that ability for it to one shot a prototype that I would say, conservatively 75 to 80% of the way there, and you can use other models to just push it the other 20%. I think that that's probably going to be worth the cost to just do that initial part and then hand off to more cost effective models to work on after that. Right. So let's look at, and I tried to, obviously very excited to polish different products. And so some of these um, are barely nudged along, right? But for the most part, all of them are basically just raw Fable 5 output. So, there might be some slight tweaks that are made, whether for copy, words on the screen, different flows, or some like factual errors within the application. But for the most part, like the design, the animations, the feel of the applications, because for the most part, I'm not heavily describing things within a prompt for each of these. Um, and so yeah, like let's just jump right into it. So we've got a bunch of live different apps, right? So we have GBlock Party, which is always on agent workstation with persistent backend sessions. I needed to experiment with a bunch of different front ends to be able to provide users a way to control all of the different agent sessions, right? And so if we just go into the live app here, there's 6 different versions. I asked for it for a little fun. The name of the app is GBlock Parties. I noted that Duolingo has a lot of very blocky UI. So a lot of the UI is inspired by Duolingo. So first we have the operator console here. So just different ways of being able to see different states that agents are in and being able to open up different things. Now, this one didn't pop up for some reason. Let's see if any of the others. Okay, so this one needs approval. So you have a little approval card here. Documents refresh, nothing. So, again, like very basic prototype, just getting things laid out. But yeah, so that's the operator console. So things in a list, and then a little sidebar pops up, and then there's a little agent modal there. And overall, like I really like the feel of like this button. Like this is a very polished animation. Let me just zoom in, not too much. There we go. I don't know if you can see like a nice pressed in, and that wasn't me prompting to ask it to do that. Just from the Duolingo prompt, it decided this was a level of polish that was required, which is pretty interesting, right? Like that inference being made. Some of the things that I would like correct. First off, I would probably want to left align this because most of the time, like when people are working, like all of my clicks are all along the left side just because I'm following things from top to bottom, left to right. And so a lot of the nav bar stuff, generally you want to push it to the left hand side. Maybe like these middle actions, as I say, middle actions can be in the middle with the settings and a little profile thing on the right side. But this was meant for an array of demos. So moving on to the next one is the console, or so the console is the one that we're currently at. Cards, which are just all of it in a list of cards to pop open the similar thing. Oh, whoops. Yeah, there. Back to the board. Oh no, weird. Okay. For some reason, I'll hit cards to go back, but yeah, these are all the same things. You have the start, and then you have the QR handoff, which also does the same animation, right? Then we have pipeline, which is sort of a Kanban style array alignment, right? And trying to move things from the left side to the right side. I actually personally really like this. It did not add drag and drop, which I feel like for a Kanban thing is kind of natural. So something that I think Fable 5 would be really good at, right? Animation and spatial awareness. But, as you can see here, it didn't infer that. Not that I specifically asked for it. Command. So this is pretty similar to the console from earlier. So, not, asked it to make multiple different variations. This one I see. So instead of popping a sidebar to keep this console here, or calling this the console, and maybe it provides a description. Dense sortable fleet table with persistent split pane detail for operators managing many agents, command first, low Chrome list, and command palette workflow for keyboard led op, monitoring and intervention. Oh, interesting. So if I go back to this, what is keyboard? Oh, okay, I see. It has like little hotkeys down here by the bottom. Interesting that it shows Mac OS. I'm on a Windows machine, but I believe I wrote this on a Mac, so thus the hotkeys are all Macs. Let's see, stream. So kind of like for a phone, like if you're got a like a Twitter feed type of thing, right? They're all in a row, and you can like hit a lot of click action. Now, some interesting things, right? Like if you're able to see, obviously, weird interaction there. And then, obviously these buttons here overlapping with the time. Not great. Probably the time you'd want it to disappear while these are showing. And then if I click on these, oh, that was a nifty animation for a drawer, right? Like a mobile style drawer that pops up. And there is no drag, unfortunately. Maybe it's only on mobile, like the mobile drag. But yeah, very interesting, right? Something that was meant to be mobile responsive. This is a workstation. So this is like a VS Code style thing. So you have some pinned ones that are always going to be there. A recap, which you can then close. You can close mobile approval. These things. And let me see if I click on this. Yeah, it opens up the tab, which I thought was really cool, and something that I really enjoyed. Top right, approvals and recap, which I think are across the board. Like every one of these interfaces will have this, and then a settings, little cutoff on the end here. Let me see if resizing it. No, it does not. So minor mistake there, but all in all, very satisfied with this, right? Get you 80% of the way there. I have multiple different demos to be able to choose from. Like personally, I like Pipeline, but I also like Stream and I like Workspace. So there's three different interfaces that I can decide to move forward on, right? Cards, a little generic, not the biggest fan of it. Console, command, meh, right? So there's one project there. Another one, New Ship City. So one of the goals with New Ship City is I wanted to create a community like Ship or Die, inspired by that, but built around a SimCity style experience where everyone kind of comes in, gets verified, their business gets verified. And, as you build your business, you get a plot of land. And in that plot of land, and I think probably City Marketplace is the best example of that, right? So if we go to the city map, right, like you just choose your plot of land. And, as your revenue goes up, your building gets taller. And if you abandon your project, right, squatters' rights, someone else will get to claim your plot in ideal real estate, right? And if you sell your startup to or project to someone else, generally these are apps, right? That's kind of the focus, indie hackers. Then you can claim that plot of land and continue on, right? So a little fun way of building and engaging with the community. Some city features like, hey, if you built an OSS tool, open source tool, maybe it's not going to be like a super revenue generating project. So maybe you want to contribute some way to the city, right? Like having police services, fire, trash, right? All that type of stuff. So that we as a community can help foster a city, and there can kind of be like a little, Helldiver style persistent metagame going on that all players kind of contribute to. We need tax revenue in a way, right? From you doing well on revenue, the city takes a fake tax from your revenue to sustain the city. If there's crime, right, that gets randomly spawned and generated, someone with their OSS tool can provide police service coverage in a particular area, and they would claim a plot to be able to do so, so on and so forth, right? So this is New Ship City, a way that I think would be really cool to incentivize people to work together and showcase the cool projects they're working on. So that was the city place. And I know that it's called New Ship City, but I decided wouldn't it be cool to kind of do like a globe. I'm not as impressed with Demo 2, even though this could be something that's very cool. As you can see, quite laggy. I tried going for like a little retro cyberpunk style planet, but not really the most impressed by it. It's kind of hard. It's very laggy. I'm not too thrilled on this, so we're not going to really dwell on it. I am, more impressed with the third demo, Tiny Planet here, um, which is a little bit more whimsical. Weird on the clouds. Obviously, if this was like a 2D scene, I think the clouds would be parallel to the ground. So there's some z-axis that it's doing there, but you can kind of see the clouds moving, right? But they're orbiting around, and I think, obviously a real easy fix that you could ask an agent to do is just to flip them 90 degrees so that they're parallel to the planet. But I do like this one a little bit more in terms of like being able to click on buildings and all that type of stuff. And I think honestly, like as you rotate, the perspective of the building on the planet stays. Now, obviously, I don't know like why it decided to do all these different regions, but all in all, I think it's really great. We're gonna have questions on how the planet grows when hopefully the app takes off and a lot of people claim their plots and all that good stuff. But I mean, on it, right, gets you 80% of the way there, and I'm honestly very satisfied with New Ship City or Tiny Ship Planet. I'm not 100% sure what we discuss on that, but yeah, all in all, very cool for this concept, right? Then we have a football game here. I thought about like creating a football card game. I don't know why. It just came to me, right? And let's just spectate an AI versus AI just to see. And yeah, so it just created this video game, right, of a little football game. Now, obviously, one of the interesting things to do when you have Fable 5 is, hey, is there a way for us to adapt and use this for a different purpose, right? Hey, if we're able to get a live, account of what's going on in a game, could we perhaps make a, decently animated version of a full game, right? Like, hey, you're a high school football game. Someone wanted to get a highlight of the game. Well, we have a sort of engine in a way to allow for someone to play football. Now, very interesting quirk. Obviously, I'm a football referee, so I know football pretty well. Interesting that they have the older style, um, field goal post, right, being in the front. You can see those like back in the 40s or the 50s, right? That's where, people would be banging against them or hitting, quarterbacks throwing, Easton throwing in the early days and hitting the goalpost, which is probably why they moved it out of the way or for player safety so they don't run into them. But yeah, ultimately, very cool. Um, just trying to speed through these. The Omega War, which is a really cool project. I really want this to work. I wanted to make a kind of Warno slash Wargame Red Dragon, two of my favorite games, and kind of create a game around that. So let's just do a spectator AI versus AI. So we've got a little RTS game. Again, like you can see like holy crap, it's able to create like a 80% of the way there. There's some jank. That tank kind of weird. These guys are floating, right? The reason that I chose AI versus AI is because it doesn't work that well in human controls, right? So probably would take an extra Fable prompt just to smoothen some things out. But overall, yeah, like very impressed with what it's able to do. The AI is kind of a little weird, so some things to massage there. It came up with a little like sidebar here to discuss like what the AI is thinking, like what is it deciding to do, all these types of things. But ultimately, right, like pretty impressed that it was able to create this, and I really hope that I can take this project and go far with it because it would be very cool to make more RTS games, which I think we're kind of lacking in today's day and age. Um, Pitwall app, it's gonna be hard to really showcase this remotion. So I created this landing page, which fine. I'm not too thrilled with this. So this is not one of Fable 5 strong suit. Decided to create a little remotion package. So I created a tracker for myself for different usages across all of the different AI providers, Claude, Codex, Gemini, which I really don't use. But yeah, so not too impressed with this, but the Pitwall app is a lot better in Mac OS, right? It's on the top menu bar, as you can see here, and it looks a lot better in my opinion. One of the things that I was able to do, which wasn't able to really translate here in Remotion, I wish I could take screenshot videos of that. Um, but one of those is it created an F1 track to show like you and the ghost car and like being able to follow it around the track. Like, hey, how fast are you going? Are you going too fast? You went past the ghost car, which is setting like the optimal pace so that you maximize your subscription and hit like 100% of it. Like if you're going too fast, you'll be ahead of it. If you're going too slow, then you'll be behind the pace car, right? So very cool. With that, let's see. So yeah, there's the pit wall again. We have ChromeMux, very cool. Don't have it's a desktop app. So ChromeMux being Chromium plus CMux together. This is going to be the primary open source, as you can just use it. This is just publicly available. You can just use this yourself if you'd like, MIT license. But it's just going to serve as the front end for the infrastructure as a service for GBlock Party. So before you saw in GBlock Party the way that you can interact with all of your agent sessions, where they're running and all that type of stuff. Um, Chromium here is a way for if you're attached to a desktop as opposed to web, providing you an avenue to be able to work with not just agent sessions themselves, but with um, a browser preview, which I think is really cool and something that I personally needed myself. Two-week coasters. So this is Roller Coaster Tycoon, but built into the terminal. I just wanted to see how far we could go with a terminal interface. As you can see here, this was a capture of it. Can't really run it that well. Let me actually, you know what? I'm thinking about it. Actually, that doesn't do anything. I have not open sourced this. Maybe I will, and I'll make a separate like video showcasing two-week coasters. But just because it's on the terminal and it's a little hard to record it. Yeah, it doesn't run particularly. How should I describe it? Like this is a long form game that I had to compile together. It's kind of hard to um, do that and then record on top of it. Maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe we'll return to this, but it's ultimately not, in my opinion, the most interesting one. And then there's some stuff that's not deployed yet. These are, so I don't know why Fable 5 made this. So not sure why it's not deploying these two. And then there's two projects here, AFPS, if you're familiar with the skills, look on it on my channel, a YouTube channel. I have a full series that will go through every single one of my skills. So alignment first, prototype second, workflow based off of the Matt Pocock grill me skill, but also like building out a full startup investigation pipeline. There's a tracker there to help you track as you're moving through every single one of the skills in a Kanban like format. So something cool that I decided to create there. Alignment. Well, one of the things that I wanted to do, this is now inspired by Claude Code, Claude Code developer Thoric. I think that's what he works on, or something that he does something at Anthropic. I think DevRel or MTS for Claude Code. But in either case, right, he kind of seeded in my head that, hey, maybe you don't want to work with the in the terminal because it can look disgusting. Instead, work in HTML. And for me, it's really hard when you're working with a lot of different projects. You're juggling a lot of HTML pages. So I decided, okay, what if I decided to put all these HTML pages into a single queue and just work on them bam, 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 one by one, and have an MCP that's exposed to all the agents. So the agents can, kind of pull a ticket, put their HTML into the queue, and then once I've answered all the questions, it creates a YAML format that I can then reroute to the agent, right? And the agent can consume that YAML to then move on to the next step, right? To the next skill. Or a lot of my skills are multi-step. Again, check out the video where I discuss all my skills. For you to be able to work through, customer discovery, competitive analysis, prototyping, creating a spec, all that type of stuff. Do it through. Now, before I did it through just raw HTML pages, I've decided to move certain presentational things to a slideshow and actually ask it to make slides for me, which again, on that same YouTube video about all of these skills, I go through that. So yeah, this was a showcase of all the different things that I built with Fable 5, not just for the singular products themselves, as you see them here. I was pretty strategic with a lot of these because they aren't just particularly useful for one particular project, but I wanted the ability for, lesser capable but cost-efficient agents to be able to pick up these starting points, right? Just clone an existing project with a certain, look, feel, utility, and then be able to see different projects. And I think that, we have 5 days at the time of recording that we have Fable 5 left in the subscription. Who knows if they're going to extend it, because really it was supposed to end today. Maybe there's going to be an extension. Maybe it's going to be back in the subscription and we won't have to have so much pressure. But Those are the things that I've worked on. I really, hit the pavement hard to try to use up all that Fable 5 space. There's some other things that I was working on, experiments that really didn't see the light of day, unfortunately. But I thought these were really great, from the video game side, which were some of them were really impressive, and some of the interfaces for actual business use cases. Right, getting 80% there, really great. So I hope you enjoyed that really, I was about to say brief. It was not brief. Extended showcase of all of the different apps that I made with Fable 5. The link to this page will be in the description. Really hope that you check out all of these different things. Some of them are open source, so feel free to fork them and use them as necessary. And if you're interested in more content like this, where hopefully I can help you inspire you to build more cool things with AI and with some of the other videos, which are more oriented towards learning to program and learning to use AI tools. I really want to, help people understand that this is going to be the new work paradigm using these AI tools and to use them in the most effective way possible because I've worked with a lot of developers. Um, and some of them even like forward deployed engineers who are supposed to be the best with AI tools, and they're really struggling with these tools. They're not using them in the right way that someone like me who is dedicating 100% of their time really trying to learn and hone my craft using these tools, building great skills, learning the quirks of all of the tool sets and building additional tools like AFPS and alignment to be able to get the most out of these AI tools, right? And so ultimately, like this video, subscribe, comment down below what else you'd like to see content wise out of me, and I will do my best to help prepare you for the future. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.